Yeah, okay. So everybody, welcome. Thank you for coming, spending some time. This is a presentation called Dear Tired Mama, when women run on empty. And so for generations, women, whether you are a mother or not, we've been overworked and undervalued. We've been taught societally and culturally to pour from empty cups that no one else can seem to refill, let alone ourselves. We give to everyone else and we do what to give to our own self. So today we'll be talking about self-care, but with the approach of cell care, CELL, cell care. Okay, so again, this is why we're all here. Tonight is not another, or today, this afternoon, is not another self-care to do type of thing. Is cell care. So we're feeding the parts of you that make energy, that are responsible for your mood, your focus, your peace. All these things are possible. And I just want to invite you all to think about just a simple ask of what has your body been trying to say to you this month? If you can really think about the ways that it's communicated to you, what has it been trying to say? Going to the next slide. The key word of the hour today is depletion. Depletion. This is chemistry. This is communication to us that we oftentimes overlook. Um, when stress stays high, for a prolonged period of time, cortisol, which is important, it can actually become one of our worst frenemies. Um, it's beneficial because it's helpful to us in cases like a sprint, but it's actually harmful in a marathon. So you think of it as stress is high. When you go up, you need to be able to come back down. And oftentimes we have difficulty being able to come back down. We kind of stay up here, or it takes us a long time to come back down. And so that's what makes it harmful. And this is, again, what you call the cortisol and chronic stress. The signs of this, which is basically dysregulation, are they look ordinary because it's so normal. But if you clench your jaw, if you pay attention to that, you notice just sitting there, your jaw is clenched. That's a sign that you may be having high cortisol. Another one is waking up at that 2, 3, 4 window at night, early in the morning consistently, because that's when cortisol dumps. And if you are already in a high amount of stress, it's pouring in more for you than your body can disperse. So you're up and you cannot go to sleep. It's the afternoon crashes, sugar cravings, coffee chasing. These are all signs of high cortisol, which is again just chronic stress. You are stressed out too often for too long. Um, and stress is expensive. It really does spend on our nutrition bank. Um, that's why you see micronutrient debt, and that leads to being foggy, having that brain fog, on edge, lack of sleep, and then a big, big key symptom, fatigue. Going back to that, I will note that a gentle helper is clove. It is a very warming spice that has chemical compounds that are a great way to support steady energy and calm the wired but tired loop. It speaks a language that reminds the body to settle when talking about cortisol. Clove is a wonderful herb. So when I say it speaks to the body to settle, it has a language. The chemical compounds have a language that they speak to each other. And the language that the clove is saying is a reminder to settle, to calm down, and your body responds to that. So that's important to know. It's helpful to know too. Your brain on, always on. talking about the brain is very important. I would like to start doing it a lot more when it comes to, again, this self-care, when we're talking about self-care. When life gets loud, the amygdala, which is like our alarm in our brain, it's what takes off. It calls all the shots and shuts everything else down. That is what's communicating when I say when life gets loud, when stress is high, when something is triggering. And because of that, your prefrontal cortex, it shuts down. And this is your patience, your planning, your impulse control, your decision making side of your brain. It shuts down and it gets quieter. And when you do this chronically or prolonged, it actually starts to shrink. When you look at brain scans, when you see trauma patients and just like high stress brains, the prefrontal cortex is it shrinks so small next to nothing. And so when you think about that, it's really something to pay attention to because again, this is your patience, your window of tolerance, your ability to plan and make rational decisions, the ability to control your impulses. You need that strong, not weak and brittle and small and shrunken. But as that's happening, your hippocampus, which is the brain's context and memory filler, it works with the prefrontal cortex to say, like, this is today, this is not yesterday, you're safe, this is not dangerous, it's just annoying. Like, this is the communication that it gives your prefrontal cortex to begin to calm down. But under chronic stress, the hippocampus can't tag context well. So there's like a communication barrier and it can't steer your prefrontal cortex to calm down. So the amygdala just keeps going, just keeps shouting, just keeps calling the shots. And really what all of this means is, a short fuse, it isn't a flawed person. It's a stressed signal. It's a stressed circuit. Um, a temper tantrum isn't a bad behavior. It's a message from an overwhelmed nervous system, of a familiar stigma that brands certain women as angry or confrontational. That's not a culture. What it really is a lack. It's a look and a sound of generational chronic overload. A lack of understanding or needs being met. And so what gets labeled as bad behavior or confusion or poor character traits is often accumulated fatigue, meeting insufficient support. And so this is why nourishing your brain is so, so, so important. And this bundle here on this slide is something we're going to talk about a little bit more, but it's a really powerful solution to a lot of the things or everything really that we're going to be speaking about today. So like I said earlier, y'all, stress is a big spender. It's expensive. Stress is expensive, y'all. If you look at your body or your nutrients is like a bank, it swipes your nutrient card faster than you can make deposits back to it. It's swiping it faster than we can make deposits back to it. And if deposits don't keep up, then your brain is running on those fumes. And that's how the fog shows up, snappiness, shallow sleep, again, that fatigue, these types of things. So when stress hits, your body shifts to a survival mode. Your heart rate goes up, your digestion goes down. All these things are synergetically connected, but the effects are not positive. And so in that mode, we use up and lose key nutrients. So again, when you talk about chronic, this is not just stress every now and then. This is all the time, every day. This is happening. You're using up and you're losing key nutrients. And this goes back to why pushing yourself is never the answer. It's not the answer. Your body will go. It will keep going because it's strong and it's resilient. It's shut down because your brain is in charge, your amygdala is in charge, but your brain cannot keep going on empty. You have to have those key nutrients, and this is what they are. You have your magnesium, which is one that stress spends The most. Your magnesium. If you're on, please mute your mics, y'all. Thank you for coming in. We're recording. Thank you for coming. Just listen in, try to catch up from if you're coming in a little bit late. But we're talking about the key nutrients and minerals that we lose when we're in a state of chronic stress. One of the main ones is magnesium. This is what calms muscles, give you deeper sleep. You need magnesium because this is like the body's chilled mineral. Topping up on this, making sure that this is full, you have muscles that are relaxed and released, and it deepens your sleep. Sleep is so essential, again, when we're talking about brain and mental health, because that is a time for your body to repair. And fatigue is one of the most apparent signs, and it's also one of the most detrimental. Because remember, again, the word of the hour is depleted, depletion. We have given so much, and now it's time for us to give back to ourselves. It's time to nourish ourselves. One of the next minerals, or this is B complex. So this is all of your B vitamins. These are essential because it builds neurotransmitters, which is your focus, your motivation, your drive. B vitamins are the assembly line for serotonin and dopamine. These are important brain chemicals that are released. And low in your B complex are you just cannot focus. That's the brain fog, lack of memory. It also makes you irritable. Another one is your omega-3s. This is like your lubrication. It makes the brain membranes flexible. It keeps fluid so that the signals can travel smoothly. Like when your amygdala is trying to talk to your prefrontal cortex and say, this is okay, this is today, this is not yesterday. The static is when you're low in those omega-3s. That's what's hindering the communication. And then the last one, these are all important, but this one is a really important one, is your antioxidants, because it reduces inflammation and this protects your mitochondria, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But this is what keeps you from that crash around 212, 1, 2, 3, somewhere around there. These are important. These are really important. So I would ask, which of these do you suspect, typo, sorry. Which of these do you suspect your body needs the most? We asked earlier, what has your body been saying to you? Knowing a little bit more about these particular minerals and nutrients that may be lost, what do you suspect your body needs the most out of each of them? You could type it in the chat if you like. You could just keep it to yourself, but think about that. Really think about that. Bubble baths are good. We talk about self-care. The Target solo runs, going to Starbucks, all these things are great, but they're not the mitochondria food and the cell care. CELL, cell care. Your brain needs raw materials, not just a pep talk. And so what you're doing when you go out for a quiet break, or you take your bubble bath, or you do your spa day, these are mini deposits. These are mini payments. Remember, when we talk about our body being the nutritional bank, and the stress is a big spender, it spends a lot. Things that we do to replenish are these little moments. So like I said, the bubble baths and whatnot, this is a mini payment, and it's temporary. It's not a large deposit that you need to make to see the real change. And so that's why it only, it's just very surface level. And the whole purpose of this is for us to go a little bit deeper, to be more effective in that care that we are now starting to take for ourselves. Mitochondria. Talking about ATP, this is very important. This is our energy, because again, the fatigue it is a loud signal that your body is telling you that something is off, or a lot of things are off. So I said it a lot, going back to mitochondria. What is that? These are the tiny engines in nearly every cell. And so when we talk about the ATP is adenosine triphosphate, and this is your body's spendable energy currency. So if you look at it this way, food is money in the bank. Mitochondria are the ATMs. And then the ATP is the cash in your hand, if that makes sense. These engines, they need daily helpers. And these are those minerals, nutrients that we talked about. They need these to mint ATP clearly. What that means is feed the energies, and you feed the engines, you feed your energy flows. If you starve these ATPs and then you push and you drive and you keep going, you are going to crash. It is inevitable because your cells just simply can't pay their bills with this material. The mitochondria has to convert the food, which turns to oxygen into the ATP. And so the only currency your body can spend for your brain power, for your muscle work and repair, all of this is important when we understand what the body is communicating when it comes to fatigue and energy. The gut-brain connection. This is another big one. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation. They talk to each other and they talk to you via the vagus nerve or the vagus nerve. They also speak through immune signals and microbial metabolites. And so when the gut is inflamed or imbalanced, the brain hears static. Again, there's a communication barrier, and this results in irritability, cravings, the brain fog, all those types of things. Serotonin is largely made in the gut, and this is a mood steadying messenger. So that sounds like something we definitely need. It's mostly made in the gut. Dysbiosis is when it's too noisy. You have more bad guys than you have good. That's what I mean by the imbalance. And then polyphenols, these are the plant antioxidants, like your herbs, your spices, your fruits, things like that. They reduce the inflammation. They reduce the noise again, so the signals travel clearly and cleanly. Another thing to consider is when we're talking about our little ones, that prefrontal cortex that we talked about, the calm down network, theirs is still wiring and it's still developing. It does not fully develop until you're 20, into your 20s. I don't want to give the exact number because I don't know. I think it's like 24, 25. But it is not developed until your 20s. And so gut upset often shows up as behavioral issues. And we get the two confused a lot. When there's big emotions, there's restlessness, difficulties in those transitions, like put the tablet away, or it's time to go inside, it's time for bed, those types of things. When we calm the gut, when we balance it, introduce more good bacteria than the bad bacteria, and clean up those travel signals, when we clean the gut and calm the gut, then the brain is not shouting anymore. It gets to stop because now they're speaking clearly to one another. And when I say calm, I don't just mean like, okay, breathe, take a deep breath, close your eyes, I need a moment. Like when I say calm, think of regulation or regulated. Okay. And in the moment, when your stress is high, it's that ability to be able to bring it back down. That's regulation. And it's difficult for a lot of us. It takes a lot of time to actually come back down from when we've been dysregulated or when we've been triggered or when there's a high stress moment. It takes a lot of time for us to actually come back down. And for some of us, it isn't even down at all. It just kind of rests on high. And so again, when we're talking about chronic stress and we're seeing the effects that it has, this information is very important. So we'll talk more about these stuff like the PB Assist, which is a probiotic fiber, those polyphenols that we talked about, and then this rhythm is a big one, all in terms of the gut brain connection. All right, foundational wellness. Nourish before you can flourish. You have to. The foundation must be built first. Then everything else is gonna stick. And doTERRA has really gifted us an answer when it's like, okay, I'm hearing all this stuff. I don't know where to start. This is a lot of information, but how do I know what's best for me? I would say, again, the answer is going to be this VMG. This refills minerals and vitamins that the stress steals. It has that magnesium. It has that B complex vitamins. It has the neurotransmitters. It has those trace minerals. Everything, when we've been depleted, this is giving back all of that was lost when it comes to those key nutrients and minerals. Then we talked about the gut and the brain connection. This PB Assist restores that bridge. It has prebiotics and probiotics. So the mood messengers are made, and not only that, they're delivered. It's a very effective blend to target imbalances in the gut. And the results in the brain, because of its potency, are almost immediate. And then the next one is the omega complex. And so this rebuilds the neutral membranes, the neural membranes, and it cools the inflammation so the signals can glide. So again, you're balancing, you're getting essentially everything you need in this wellness bundle. So we talked about, one moment. Okay, so with something like this, give your body a season of consistent deposits. It takes about 90 days for the cells to communicate and have a repair that you can actually see. But because of the potency of these products, of these oils, these supplements, your results are bound to be seen a lot sooner than that. But again, when we're talking about cellular care, when we talk about self-care on a cellular level, and when we talk about being depleted, it takes time because it took time to get you to where you were. And if you know anything about epigenetics, which is actually the memory of your cells, so the DNA and everything that your ancestors and those before you went through is in their cells, and it all transferred. So it's not on the work is a generational repair that transcends timelines because it's repairing and restoring from the past and bringing that healing into the present and the future. Oh, another question is, okay, which out of these do you think would help you the most right now? Between the VMG, which are those minerals, out of the PB Assist, which is that gut-brain bridge, or the omega complex, which is those neural membranes, which would you say that you could benefit from the most currently? Rhythm is medicine. This is one of my favorite topics, I think, that we'll discuss tonight, and I'll speak a lot more on it as time passes, hopefully. But our bodies are clocks, y'all. They are. There's circadian rhythms, which are internal rhythms in our body that run on monthly cycles. You know, women, many of us naturally run about 28 days, which is the length of the lunar cycle. And these rhythms are set in place and they run automatically. So it's not something you have to think about. You're just born and your body is doing it. These things run automatically for when we perform, when it's a time to perform, when it's a time to repair, when it's a time to rest, when it's a time to build, all these, and ignoring time or simply not acknowledging it really forces us to overwork. But honoring time and understanding it lets the body recover. In the mornings is really good to consider the hydration. You want to make the message biologically because again, I want us to really hold on to the fact that our bodies are speaking to us. Our cells are talking and they have a language. And it would really benefit you to learn it and listen to it. And so the message that your body needs to know when you rise, when you start your day is we're safe to perform. And there's a way that you communicate that biologically. So you're wired to perform that way and function, to be calm, to be regulated. But when you jump up out of bed and you just got to hurry and get going, you grab your coffee, you don't really eat, or it's a lot of stress going on, you see you don't have that time. It's not saying we're safe. What do you think your body is saying in the mornings when you wake up consistently? What are you telling your body? And what is it saying back to you? The midday or the evening is for you to fuel and to perform. And then the evenings are, again, when we're talking about communication, it needs to have permission for repair. But then throughout the day, there should always be intentional periods of breath to help with regulation. And for a lot of us, that quiet doesn't really come until the end of the day. And that's why you have the exhaustion. That's why it's pregnant. Sorry. That's why it's present. I don't know why I said that. That's why it's present. And it looks like doom scrolling for hours or a late night snacking or craving, just whatever your little ritual is at the end of the day, because now your body is finally having time to decompress and regulate. When this is something that we should try to incorporate all throughout our day to help keep the stress down. But you see how it becomes so normal when it's chronic and we do this for periods of time, and then it's generational. So it's in our cells embedded even deeper. That's why these things are so important. So that was just talking about the day-to-day rhythm. But again, there's a lunar rhythm. There's a lunar rhythm that we can also consider to experience benefits when we talk about being intentional. The monthly rhythm of aligning your menstrual cycle with the lunar cycle is something that I have personally found to be very, very beneficial. With the new moon, or when you follow the moon phases, you start off with the new moon, which is the time for release and rest. The waxing moon, the moon is expanding, is growing, is getting bigger. So this is the time to plan. This is the time to build. Then once it's finally full, that's your connection. That's when your connection is high. That's when you're able to express. There's more clarity in your mind because it's at its fullest. And then it starts to wane. It starts to shrink. And that's when it's time to go back to a new. You're getting ready to do it all over again. So that's your pruning, your purging, your simplify. And being intentional with synchronicity, it really turns time into an effective tool so that you don't push harder. You're not working against the tide, you're now working with it. When it's time to rest, you rest. When it's time to build, you build. And your body responds with a steadier energy, which develops a more clear mind, which leads to a calmer home. And so again, when I say calm, think of regulation. It's not just everybody's soft and well, not I don't want to say soft, but it's not this idea of just something that we cannot obtain. It literally just means that we're regulated and we're in regulation. We're actively practicing it. And if this resonates or piques some curiosity with y'all, with any of you, I can go deeper with anyone who wants personal rhythm mapping. Because circadian rhythm, it's just textbook biology. And the 28-day lunar cycle is simply a handy external clock that happens when it happens to mirror many women's natural timing with their 28-day cycle. So, if the moon language isn't your thing, you can still use your menstrual cycle with a plain calendar. And, the principle is still the same. You time your work and your rest and introduce a balance, and your nervous system will thank you. So I invite y'all to pay attention to your body and how it's responding to that. And, let it meet you where you are. Keep the pieces that soothe you and release what doesn't. All right, essential oils, concentrated plant activity. Just to really understand the power of oils and how they work if you aren't familiar, because they're not just a scent. This is active plant chemistry. These are live, living cells themselves that communicate and talk and have a language. And so the quality of these oils in particular, doTERRA, the quality of doTERRA's oils it compares to none. It compares to none, y'all. I'll say that. I'll stand on it. You can say what you want. I doubt I find it very hard to believe that there's any other brand out there that has such transparency and intentionality behind their product, and the results do not lie. You know, these oils are CPTG tested, certified, pure. They're therapeutic grade tested. I know other oils are putting out information like that. They're concentrated, volatile compounds that are able to penetrate the skin barrier. They pass through the lipid membranes of cells and are able to engage the limbic brain through inhalation, you know, if you want to diffuse it or just smell, through topical application. It's safe enough to put on your skin, safe enough to put on your baby skin with dilution, and then ingesting the ones that are, you know, meant to be ingested. The results are amazing. The way your body responds is because of the science behind these oils and the purity behind them. That's why the body can respond so quickly, because these small molecules, they travel fast and they communicate with the cellular pathways, especially with your little ones, especially with your children. And so continued use of these oils creates a kind of harmony inside the body because they're pure and potent and they're alive and they communicate. They act as a clean signal to your cells that they can actually understand. It's like when it says to calm down, it does it. When it says regenerate, it does it. When it says to kill the bacteria, it does it. You know, this active plant chemistry, it carries a naturally high frequency because they're alive, they're living. And it's a biological vitality that helps your own system tune up rather than just cope and create these bad habits. And so as your cells harmonize with that signal, the nervous system steadies, your breath deepens, your whole body just begins to realign towards a more balanced state. And that's why you start to notice your mood is brighter, your energy is lighter, and what many describe as like a higher vibration or a higher frequency, you know, that's what takes place, whatever language you want to use. But the point is that your body will recognize a shift. Okay. Hidden dangers in your home, hidden drainers. So VOCs are volatile organic compounds. And these are tiny toxic gases. I don't know if that is like a cute name, but that is, VOCs are not your friend. They are not your friend. And these are found in plugins, candles, cleaning products, uh, those types of things that linger indoors, and they mimic hormones and actually agitate your limbic system. So that clean smell, because you really like the Fabuloso or you grew up with it, or you know, you understand that a lot of that psychology to clean smells is it was constructed with intent to not to clean. I'll say that, or to clean, but not with health in mind. And so it can equal cognitive clutter. And in this slide, we kind of only touched on fragrances. But again, these are in cleaning supplies, skincare, your hair care, your toothpaste, laundry detergent, dishwashing liquids. So many of these things carry the same similar chemicals that have the same neurological effects on you, but not only you, your little ones. So as y'all are coming in, you can enter your emails into the chat. And anybody who enters, you're entering into the giveaway. I'll be giving something away at the end of the show, but you'll also get my ebook, which is 7 Days to Detox Your Home. And this is a help to start swapping in a gentle way that makes it realistic and practical, not overwhelming and guilt-inducing, but it shows you a way to swap out a lot of those toxic, harmful chemicals with intentional, safer products. And when we talk about care for ourselves and care for those we love, it makes you really consider a lot of the choices that we're making when what we bring into our home is affecting us on a cellular level. Just kind of a continuation of the previous slide, but more towards the children. Uh, like I said earlier, remember their calm down centers, the prefrontal cortex is still wiring, is still developing, and their nervous system is wired when they're small to borrow regulation from us and from the spaces that they live in, because everything is in communication and everything communicates with your brain, everything. So when the air is thick of these artificial fragrances or chemical residues from your bleach or your what are those disinfecting wipes and these types of things, their small bodies are trying to concentrate and rest, but their brains are being overstimulated. So that's why you see what looks like that bad behavior, what you would call tantrums, fidgeting, those bedtime issues, or even hyperactivity. So many of those things, but so often it's literally just biology saying this room is too loud. And sometimes the fix isn't correction, it's creating an environment that breeds that calm instead of chaos. And so clean air can be essential. Soft lights, gentle, safe scents. These are sensory cues that promote safety, that communicate safety. Um, when the environment feels safe, children don't have to fight for regulation, and then they can actually borrow it from us. And so our goal isn't to have like a perfect environment or perfect children. It's just you have to be realistic, but also understand that it's absolutely possible to maintain these peaceful environments that make regulation easy for us all. And it's just small changes over time that are those deposits that you're making. And so I think it would be cool if this week y'all look under your counters, your cabinets, or in your sinks in your bathrooms and just see what could be a trigger. If you have plugins, heavy fragrances, spray residues, just pick one item to remove for 7 days, or two items, you know, whatever feels good for you. You can jump all in and move them all out, or just try at least one and remove it for 7 days and observe. Monitor your sleep, your baby sleep, focus, meltdowns, patience, that window of tolerance, all these things. If any of y'all are in the Austin area, Freshora actually offers in-home cleaning audits. So we're able to come in and help swap products under the cabinets and set you up for those calm air routines. If you're not local, you can still reach out to me and we can do something virtual. But again, that ebook will guide your first steps and be a great tool. And again, just consistent small steps and a balance, y'all. It does not have to be perfect. Okay. So, this one, money talk with love. So what I mean by that is like every swipe is either a withdrawal from your energy account or a deposit into it. And this is buying those coffees, candles, you know, the symptom helpers. These are those mini payments that are quick fix impulse buys. They often equal or can surpass the price that you pay to get this foundational wellness bundle that is actually rebuilding your biology. You know, it can you can be intentional with your spending and reallocate those micro purchases that give you quick relief towards what would actually restore you. Investing in something like the VMG or the PB assist or the omegas is an asset, and that asset compounds over time. It's each capsule that you deposit or intake is a deposit into your clarity, into your mood, into your energy. And then it transcends because it spreads around the home and to everyone else. And calm bodies make clearer choices. It's just the truth. And clearer choices are going to always save money every single time. Just to be personal for a second, in my mind, the story that I would tell myself is like, I just kept waiting for the right financial moment to really just go all in and take care of myself and my health. But the truth was my health was the missing piece that unlocked everything else. Honestly, Fresh Shore did not really take off until I made my health a priority. I was not balanced. I wasn't seeing rest as productive. I wasn't. I kept pushing and working harder and just trying to show up and arrive. And I had to stop and be honest. And I started to feed my brain, y'all, and my ideas got sharper. My planning got clearer. There was better execution. I showed up regulated to network and to be able to connect and communicate and create. My window of tolerance grew and more energy, more motivation. Just again, that higher frequency, higher vibration, whatever you want to call it, it really began to take place. And that's what helped me get to what I thought I needed to get to take care of my health. And then it just trickled down to each of my daughters as well. It just trickled down. And so talking about a ripple effect, cleaner chemistry creates a cleaner calendar, fewer errands, you're chasing half solution stops, and you sleep better, you think clearer, you love softer, and your partner notices like the house is calm, the children are regulated, you're not snappy, even in the children, you notice focus and grades and language shift when the nervous system isn't fighting the air. And by language shift, I mean like cognitive improvements, because on a neurological level, things are taking place to now where they may have had a lisp and they're able to speak more clearly or control it, because that's exactly what started to happen with one of my daughters. But being intentional, it saves time and money. These many payments that used to disappear, just real quick, coffee here, real quick, run to the store, whatever it is, they become larger deposits in your peace account that you actually see some growth. And the bank that was depleting is now growing again. So you're no longer a cup with holes and you pour in, now you actually get filled. And that kind of steadiness really does reshape everything. It reshapes your schedule, your relationships, your budget, your sense of worth. There's just so many positive effects from making, again, these small shifts. We're almost done here. I'm gonna try to move a little quicker. But okay, so start here. Start here where results compound. And what I mean by that is what's actually happening when you decide to take that step. You're giving your mitochondria cofactors. You're giving your neurons those flexible membranes. You're giving your microbiome allies, good guys, help. And you're giving your nervous system permission to downshift. Like I said, it takes about a season of 90 days for cellular repair to become honest, though many will feel changes sooner, especially in your children. I saw shifts within a couple of weeks. One of my daughters is an early bird. She's always just up and on go. And she was sleeping in, she would sleep longer and walking instead of running. So to me, I see, wow, I'm calm, regulated. One of my youngest, which this is not her, I guess, character at all, but she sat outside painting alone for almost an hour. No one prompted her to do that, but she just these little subtle changes I noticed. Again, calm, regulated. I have one that's already kind of more calm in her disposition, but even with her, the results have been continued neurological and skin improvements. And when we started, we were splitting the kit. So even those partial doses still spoke a language to their bodies that they responded to. So another question I'll ask is, what would 90 days of loving your cells, yourself, your cells, CELL, cells, what would that do? What would it do to steady your days for 90 days? step into more intentional regulation. What would that be worth to your home, to your family? Just think about that. Okay, so uh doTERRA. Again, starting with the VMG, it isn't just another vitamin. That's what this foundational wellness bundle is. Starting with that is the first deposit. It makes every other habit pay you back. And as moms, as women, when your nervous system steadies, the whole family gets a raise in peace. It is undeniable. And this is why VMG is such a winner for women because it changes the tone of the whole household. Just this one simple step, this one simple change, it affects the entire household. It fills the stress gaps because you're getting the magnesium, the V vitamins, the trace minerals, all those things that were depleted. And that's when you start to feel the difference. Those muscles are now calmer, and now you are able to sleep better. You steadier, more focused, inflammation is reduced, and you have relief that has not been experienced in a long time. And this is now a daily experience that your nervous system is remembering. Secondly, the VMG is built for bioavailability. So that means it forms in your body in a way that can actually be used. So the benefit shows up as those steadier mornings and fewer crashes. Not just I took a pill or I drank this tea this morning. It's a lot more intentional. Again, because of the potency and the purity of the doTERRA grade oils. Third, the plant phytonutrients, which are those greens and antioxidants that you're getting, they help quiet the inflammatory background noise. And that's what lets the clarity stick. Instead of just fading after a little bit, it sticks. And that's what we need. That's the key. We need it to stick. So for many women, this also supports rhythm because again, you're sleeping better. You have more energy at the right times. Your body's timing feels more coherent because it's a family ready foundation. You can share the habit with so many other people. And then it just has this magical effect that everyone is just a little more patient and a little more present because you're all making these key changes to your health on a cellular level. And so, what would giving yourself a season to start? Like I say, just even if it's 30 days, but really strive for 90 to just nourish yourself and be intentional. Uh, I think that's so important. These products are available to everyone, but joining as a doTERRA member actually unlocks so much more. They are so generous. As a member, you get 25% off. You have access to loyalty rewards points, and the 25% off is just for the rest of this year for any order that you make. But you also have loyalty rewards points, which turns into free products. You have the opportunity as well to earn monthly promos and product credits. This month, there's a lot of promotions, as you can see. So becoming a member isn't necessarily about like an obligation. It's just belonging to a community that believes in education first, empowerment, and creating homes that heal. So with that email that I send out for the ebook, I'll also include a link if you wanted to enroll. And again, these are the free products this month. Going right to the next one. This is our giveaway prize. So whoever is the winner will be getting one of these. I can't see my screen, y'all, but I hope you can see it. It's the same thing that's on the screen, but this stick, I call it my mom calm button. Mom calm button because that's what it is. You can see all of these oils if you have any type of understanding about herbal compounds and um how to formulate blends that are curated so they become non-specific, meaning it adjusts to whatever your body needs, however it needs it. It's saying the right language based on you. But this blend has the relaxing florals. You see the lavender, chamomile, lang lang. And then you have the grounding woods, which is that cedar wood, sandalwood, all of those, which are just they are the the science, y'all. It blows me away. And there's research, there's so many labs and tests and resources that you also have access to through doTERRA because there's strict testing. They have doctors, I can't think of the word, but there's a lot of science that goes into this to where this stuff is actually in pharmacies. This stuff is actually, doctors are turning around, starting to use it. Dermatologists, dental facilities, they're starting to use these products because of how effective they are. But this one in particular is rich in those calming alcohols. And then combined with the heavier grounding properties, it allows it to linger so your calm lasts longer. And the advantage of the stick, because they have it is just the essential oil, but they have a stick, they have a roll-on. I prefer the stick because oils perform best with a carrier oil. It actually slows the evaporation and supports skin absorption when you do dilute instead of just putting direct contact on your skin. And so the stick makes, I guess, dosing more precise and also very gentle. It's great for bed and relaxation, but this is gentle enough for me personally that I use this all throughout the day. I use this every day, all day. There's many doTERRA oils that I use daily, but this is definitely one of them. I'll rub it across my jawline and I will notice that I'm not continuously clenching my jaw. I'll rub it on the back of my neck, behind my ears, on my wrist, just for daytime regulation. Bottoms of feet for your children, even. If you're into reflexology, the big toe point is a very fast messenger to the brain. So just a tiny swipe goes so far. Again, it's all because of the potency and the purity of these oils. I'm telling y'all, within moments, shoulders drop. Like I said, my jaw releases. Wherever there's tension, I put Serenity on it and it's gone. It's gone. These plants were designed for partnership. And so when we meet them with rhythm and nourishment, our nervous system, it's like you're communicating a completely different language than what you have given it, and the response is remarkable. It's remarkable. And so now is the time we're wrapping up. That's the last slide, y'all. Again, make sure your emails are in the chat. If you have any questions, I'll open up the floor. You can unmute and please ask. If not, we'll just wait and make sure everybody has their emails in, and I'll announce the winner and then I'll get with you privately. But right, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead. I'll just give y'all some time. No questions, y'all? You just learned everything and you understood it. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Well,
Ray.
yes.
Okay, I have a question. I think
Yay.
it was about that first product.
Uh-huh.
Um, oh, it's so much. It's
This
hard for
one.
me to remember.
The
Let me see.
VNG.
Is it? I think so. Um,
Put it on the screen. Tell me if you can see it.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like, what does it include? Like, what is in it? So, is there essential oils in it, or
Yes.
is it like different? What can I say? Not herbs, but do they include herbs? Do they include superfoods, or what does it all entail that it's going to give me my B vitamins and all the things?
Got
Because
it.
I am low on B vitamins, and like that one really stood out to me because I can see myself taking that.
Okay, so if you can see the screen, look, there's a good option, which is a good place to start. Then there's a better when you add the Omega bundle, and then there's the best. which is the VMG, the omegas, and the probiotic, prebiotic. But in the VMG, it's a powdered packet, which is the all-in-one wellness supplement. So this has vitamins and minerals that are whole food, plant derived. Then it has superfood and green blends. It has antioxidants, enzymes, botanicals, probiotics. So it's vegan and bioavailability boosters, which are essential oils. But does that help, or you want to know specifics?
No, that's good. I mean, I just didn't know like I know it
Yeah,
is doTERRA, so I didn't know if, they put in the essential oils
yeah.
that
That's
help
that's
with
what
those
it is.
things.
They use the oils to now create supplements. And so
Okay. Okay, I
later
see.
this week, I'm actually going to do a class diving deeper into the VMG. And I'll record it if you aren't able to make the live. But just for the sake of time, this was an intro, but I will break this down way deeper because again, there's all kind of uh data and science-backed information, labs. There's so much that has gone into this bundle specifically. Each and every product was developed strategically to really impact the cells. If you break down the numbers, like you'll look at the percentages going into the body compared to other vitamins, you'll see a smaller percentage. Like for example, say iron is, I'm just making up a number. I don't know the exact number, so it's subjective. But the VMG may say 12%, but another brand will say iron 45%. And you can ask yourself, okay, well, how is this more effective if this one I'm getting more iron? The iron that's in this is not only synthetic, but they have to put, I'm talking about the alternative brand. It has synthetics, but not only that, they have to put a higher amount because it does not have those oils that are bioavailable. And what that means is it's not even really breaking down in your system. You're not getting the nutrients, you pee them out. And that's why you have like the yellow pee and the things like that. But with this one, with the VMG, it's a smaller amount because you're keeping every bit of it. And you'll find that that's all you need and not the artificial number that's 45% because that's not even going in your body. But this 12% is.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah, I'll go into VNG a lot more later this week. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, let's see. Let's do the spin to see who won. Let's see. Thurna, are you here? Oh, I think she had to leave. Okay, the winner is Shay. You won, so I'll send you a Serenity blend. You're gonna love it, girl. I'll get with you for all your information and be on the lookout for that. How exciting. How exciting. But um, okay, y'all. Let's see if I have anything else. That's really it. So
We're the best family in history.
y'all make sure you mute your mics. But what I'll leave you on is this quote from a very
All
inspirational
right.
woman to me. But her name is Esther Perel. And she says the quality of our relationships determine the quality of our lives. Okay. And tonight, I want that to include for us the relationships within. So the relationship with your nervous system, the relationship with your gut, the relationship with your brain, feed them and your life will just begin to reshape around peace. Another thing I want to leave you with is that every calm breath rewrites your story. That's very important, y'all. So, with that being said, I will see you all next Sunday. Any of you that are able to return, I'll have these classes weekly. So every Sunday we'll be here. And next week we'll be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about AI, but still keeping it in the same vein of reclaiming our health. So it's going to be another really good one. Thank y'all for coming, spending some time with me. I love each of you dearly. So I appreciate your support. Y'all have a good Sunday. Bye.